Food fraud and how to detect it is one of the key topics of discussion at the Africa Food Safety Workshop that's being hosted at the Emperor's Palace in Johannesburg. The workshop brings together leading African scientists and a wider representation of experts with the aim of promoting standards, reliable testing and international cooperation for better public health and trade. Well, for more on this, we cross now to my colleague Nozintombi Miya, who's covering the story for us. Thanks very much for joining us, Nozintombi. What is food fraud?
Thank you so much, Nompu. And that really has been the biggest question of the day. What is food fraud? And I was speaking to the CEO a little bit earlier, the CEO of NAMISA, which is the institution or the organization that has been organizing and spearheading this week-long safety workshop. And he explained it like this. He said, food fraud is when you go to the store and you buy a bottle of red wine. And you expect that this bottle of red wine is going to be of the highest standard of grapes, and it is going to be the most organic and come from a quality and reputable winery. The problem, however, is when some other companies come in with cheaper wines or cheaper quality wines that are filled with chemicals and other toxic substances included in that wine, and are pricing out South African wineries and making their red bottles of wine cheaper, as opposed to a higher price or a premium price that South African wineries would have charged for their wines. That exactly is what food fraud is. And to talk to me a little bit more about some of the quality issues and the trade issues that go into ensuring the highest quality of import and export of the food in South Africa, I have with me Dr. Wynand Louw. Thank you so much, Dr. Louw. There's a bit of a flurry to get here. And, one of the most important questions really that have been asked throughout the course of this week is about the quality and assurance of quality. And you are the first line of defense when it comes to that. Explain to me how that works and what you do in terms of ensuring the quality for import and export of our products.
Yeah, if you test for these products or the toxins and whatever in food, there are two very important things. And the first thing is that you must have traceability for your measurement internationally for other countries to accept that measurement result. And that is our main job as NMISA. The second part is third-party accreditation, where basically a third party come in and basically just check that you can do the specific test. But our mandate is to ensure that our measurements are internationally comparable and acceptable. So we maintain the national measurement standards and we produce certified reference materials. And especially, those national measurement standards, like in temperature, mass and so, that is used to actually calibrate everything basically in the food industry, like the thermometers for temperature measurements, mass and so on. And then the certified reference materials are used to calibrate the instruments that they do the specific test on, like a gas chromatograph, mass spectrometer, and so on. And so my job is really to ensure that we establish these national measurement standards, and that with the International Committee for Weights and Measures, I work with them to negotiate with the other countries to accept the South African measurement results.
Yeah. Dr. Louw, trade is absolutely important, but reputation is even more important. How important is it for you to ensure that the quality of the items that you have weighted for our trade partners internationally is of the acceptable quality and standard?
Yeah, it's absolutely important, because the moment they measure something overseas that we have certified, measured, and basically gave a certificate of analysis on this side, and they found it to not be comparable, then our reputation, of course, suffers, and immediately our trade is stopped. The other thing is monitoring. So we do all of this so that we can continuously monitor locally, that we adhere to all the regulations and everything. Just a good example would be that if we export a big load of oranges and we do the test here for the pesticides that must be under a certain level. And we give the certificate. And then it lands in Europe, and they do the test again. And they find pesticides there. Immediately, they will just stop all the trade until we can prove again that that is below the limit. And that is really what we do to help the testing fraternity in South Africa. It's our mandate to help them to ensure that the tests that they do are internationally acceptable, correct and acceptable.
Dr. Wayne, a throwaway question. Do you have an idea sort of how many trade partners we have in terms of our exports internationally?
In our system, we work with about 102 countries. So you can safely say we trade formally with at least those 102 countries. There are some more that's not within that system, but at least 102. And then on the African continent, there are more countries that we trade with that's not necessarily in that international system. About 14, 15 countries on the African continent belongs to this international measurement system that we belong to. But the others, we are 49 members in our intra-Africa metrology system. And so 15 of those are internationally connected, and the rest we connect at the regional level.
Thank you so much, Dr. Wayne and Lowe, giving us such insight, amazing, fantastic insight around the issue of, trading, from South Africa to international countries and ensuring that the quality of the food items that we produce is weighted and tested and quality controlled sufficiently so that when it gets to our trade partners, he said, over 100 trade partners internationally and on the continent is of the quality and of the reputation and standard that South Africa needs it to be at.